Okay, welcome to this week's Inside Oriel with BetRegal. I'm joined by Robbie Benson. You're the unlucky one this week, Robbie. We're looking ahead to tomorrow's massive game against St Patrick's Athletic at Richmond Park, but I suppose only one place to start, and that's last week in Galway. Stevie's only had to be in. Still, you can see it's still hurting, unacceptable. I'm sure it's been a tough week for the players, as it has been for everybody at the club, trying to figure out what happened and trying to get over it.
Yeah, desperately disappointing. I'm sure everyone's the same as me. It's probably the worst night that we've had in football. And we understand the fans' frustration on the night, and from our point of view, it's not acceptable and not at the levels of where we have and the standards we have for ourselves. So we've work to do to make up for that. Obviously, tomorrow is a big one for us to help start that journey. Will the result tomorrow make up for last week? No, but it's all we can do now at this stage to move on and show that last Friday was an isolated incident and not one that will keep happening to us.
How can you explain it? How you obviously didn't come on until we were 3-0 down, but when you're sort of on the sideline warming up or whatever, watching it unfold, how can you put your finger on sort of what happened?
Yeah, probably just a little bit of fear from us in terms of getting done on the very first set piece was very disappointing, and then when they rattle off 2 or 3 set pieces, then just the pressure comes on you a bit more, and we didn't deal with it. It was obvious on the night, and it's something that we have to address going forward, and we're doing all we can to do that, and I'm sure we'll get a big reaction off everyone tomorrow night.
Stevie said after, he didn't dispute the fact that it looks like we have a soft side. I'm sure as players that must, when you hear stuff like that, and have you spoken about it as a group this week?
Yeah, look, it's the worst thing that you can be accused of as a player is to be soft. I certainly want to be labelled as that personally, but I think collectively we showed on Friday that that's what it was, and it's going to be probably the first thing that St. Pat's will comment on with us tomorrow, and if we face a bit of adversity, we're going to have to react a lot better, and the proof will be in the pudding tomorrow, and we just have to address it going forward.
As I said to him as well, it's a massive game, not just for the league and for its Pats and it's the place for the race for Europe. Everybody in this town's looking to see what the reaction is going to be tomorrow night.
Of course, and look, we understand the fans. If I was a fan going down and seeing my team that happened to them, I'd be probably as vocal as they would be. So it's understandable, and all we can do is apologise and look to atone for it, and we'll definitely be giving our all tomorrow night, and probably a bit more onus on experienced lads on the pitch to make sure that we're solid and organising, and probably something that hasn't been great from us, or wasn't great from us last Friday, and that's an aspect that we have to look at as well.
I always sort of ask this, but on weeks like this, is that where the likes of yourself, Mounts, Hoban, Andy Boyle, experienced lads, do you have more of a sort of, do you need to sort of take a grip of things, or is that just normal anyway?
Yeah, well, we have a lot of experience in the league, and we kind of have to shoulder more of the responsibility for that because of the identity the club has over the last while, and we've allowed that to happen last Friday night, and as well as that is to kind of protect the younger lads and the newer lads in the team. And to be fair, everyone this year has shown flashes of what they're about. It's just us getting all those flashes together, but there's probably no even point talking about the flashes.
Yeah,
last Friday is fresh in the mind. So we've 7 games left in the league, big chance to push on to Europe, beat Pats tomorrow. We go 4 behind them, so there's still a lot to play for, and we'll be doing all we can.
Is that a thing, Robbie? You mentioned identity there, and it's something they often think about. Like lads coming in, especially if you're outside the league, like we've a great tradition and a great history here. And like last Friday and even last year going out to Waterford, it was the first 2 times we were ever knocked out of the cup by first division teams. Like those things hurt sort of fans and hurt, people from Dundalk. But is it a case of trying to marry the expectations and, as you say, sort of learn new lads and sort of educate them about how big this club is, and that, like, a result like last week's just not. It'll be remembered for years for the wrong reasons,
Of course, and as I said, we understand that. Like, this club has been group stage Europa League twice, and I think as well probably the cup final. We know what it's like and how big an occasion is, and how separate it is to any other game that you play. Lads coming over don't have any experience of it, especially lads in their first year who wouldn't have seen a cup final, don't know the importance of it. Now, it's on us to teach them and show them. I'm sure for any of the lads of this first year that are here next year, they'll be watching in November a big game in the Aviva, seeing how big it is and how special a day it is, and that'll be a big point of emphasis for them for next November to be there, and then nights like that won't happen again. Yeah,
just thinking for yourself, it's probably the most turbulent sort of spell. 2017 was bad, but in the first period we thought that was a bad season, where we ended up finishing second, got to the cup final and won the League Cup. But this is probably the most turbulent spell you've had at Oriel Park since
I'd say Friday's probably the lowest point of my career. I got relegated in Galway with UCD, but I think just the feeling last Friday was worse. It's kind of, this season for me is kind of mirrored that 2017 season, because I got injured the first time around in Cork, the first game we had down in Cork, and by the time I was back, kind of the season had slipped away a bit. This year, I felt really good coming back in the team, and then just my leg was against UCD, leg was in a kind of a stretched position, and I got a whack. So unfortunate from that side of things, but feeling good now, and the recovery has gone quite well. Happy with everything, and feeling good. Just hopefully can get a few minutes now, get 90 minutes into me relatively soon, and get fit for the rest of the season. Yeah,
the joy of football is that the next game, it's all, the next game can change. As you say, it's not going to change what happened last Friday, but the focus is on tomorrow night. It's, as I say, never mind about the reaction in terms of the league table and what's left to play for. It's a massive game, isn't it, up there?
Yeah, you're hurting from the week before, and it's a little bit tough to address the issues that went, knowing that there's a game on Friday and not having obviously there was a post-mortem after the game and a debrief with everyone to put a finger on what happened last week. We feel we've addressed that now within the four walls, but it's out on the pitch that we have to show, and it's a delicate one where you have to be positive going into a game. You can't hold the demons from last week, or it'll just get on top of you again. So we're going to be positive going into the game tomorrow night. It's going to be a good atmosphere like last Friday was. So it's a good test, and the lads have a bring it on mentality now tomorrow. So it'll be fun.
I think it's no secret, we need the win. Our record against the teams above us hasn't been great. We need to change that starting from tomorrow night, obviously with Shells and Bowes still to play as well. If we can get a good return against those teams, hopefully that'll be a big sort of, it'll propel us towards the top three.
I think the fixture where it is in the season, a big away win will do us the world of good. As I said, it'll be a similar atmosphere. They'll be on top of us from the word go, and we'll react as best we can and give our best shot.
2021 was our last win up there. Do you remember?
2021.
I
wasn't here, was I?
No, you were playing against Dundalk. COVID, yeah. Sam Bone, OG, and Dave McMillan. It
was after half time, yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time now.
Yeah, I actually very little memory of that COVID.
That's well, yeah.
Those games kind of just merged into each other. It was a weird time, and even you mentioned there.
It's weird even looking at put the goals up there. I remember the game because I think it was the last game before the mid-season break.
That's right. Yeah.
It was like when you look at it, there was nobody in the stands. The subs were all sitting, 3 or 4 seats apart in the main stand. It was
a far cry from tomorrow night, because in fairness to Pats, they've had sold out nearly every game this year, so it'll be a great atmosphere. And Dundalk always bring a great travelling support to Inchicore, so hope they can go down their droves tomorrow again.
The only 2 players in the Pats team, they're still there. Forrester and Jamie Lennon. Just a word on Forrester. He'd be remembered as one of the great midfielders of this generation. 12 goals this year. How good is he? You played alongside.
He's a top player, and he just can do things in training that take your breath away at times, and he's a real talisman for them. I was joking with him earlier in the year that he's turned a bit into Frank Lampard with the amount of goals he scored, but that was a compliment to him, not a slight. So yeah, we'll have to be at our best now tomorrow to keep tabs on them, but they have quality all over the pitch that can hurt us, so we're going to have to be at our best to stifle them. You
say going into a win tomorrow night, obviously Cork on Monday night. Just looking at the fixtures as well, ourselves, Bows, Shells and Pats are all playing Friday, Monday, so 2 good results over the next 2 games, and the league table could have a complete different complexion 9:30 Monday.
Yeah, it's gone like that this year. There hasn't been an outstanding team really consistency wise in the league, so we just hope that we can get our run going now. We're probably the talk of the league now, and we're at a relatively low point for us, so we just have to turn around and hope we can peak at this time of year and finish in those top 3 places.
Good stuff. Robbie, thanks for joining me. Appreciate it.
Right, thank you.
And best of luck tomorrow night.
Cheers.